Okay, if we want to design a building, first we should know which are the different components of your buildings are. Okay, so we have first component is your foundation. Okay, so your foundation will be there. Then we have some columns. Okay, like this we will be having some columns. Okay, let us consider some building is there. Okay, so we have foundation which will be underground. Let us consider this is your GL. Okay, this is your GL. Okay, so this particular portion, this is your foundation. Okay, then we have some beams will be there. Okay, then we have number of floors like this. Okay, we will be having some number of floors like this. Okay, let us consider we have this structure as a some 2-bay frame structure. Okay, so we have different components, such as the first component is your foundation, which will be underground. So this is your foundation. Okay, then we have columns like this. Then we have beams. Okay, then we have slabs. Okay, which are shown by these hatches. Okay, so these are the main structural components of your building. Okay, and while designing, our motto is, so first one is safety, serviceability, economy. Okay, these are our main incentive or requirements for design of any structure. So whenever we will be designing a structure, it should be safe, it should be serviceable, and it should be economical. Okay, so these are basic requirements of any structure. So while designing, what is the meaning of design? Okay, what is the meaning of design? What is the meaning of design is that whenever you will be designing a structure, it will be subjected to some loads. Different types of loads will be there. The first one is your dead load. Dead load is the load of your dead component, that is self weight. Then we have live load. Live load is the weight coming from the movable objects such as human beings or any other movable things. Okay, then we have finishing load. Okay, finishing load, it is some type of dead load itself. It is some type of dead load itself. Okay, it will be for let us consider your tile work and other work. For that we will be considering the finishing load. Then we have different types of lateral loads, such as wind load. Wind load will be there, and we have some earthquake loads will be there. Okay, so different types of IS codes are available for designing. Okay, as per IS 456 we have for Indian standard condition we have IS 456. Okay, this is used for design of RCC structure. Then we have, if we are considering the wind load, then we have to use the IS 875, and also in addition to this, if we are designing for a structure for earthquake, then we have to also use IS 1893, IS 1893, and IS 13920. These different types of IS codes are required to be used. Okay, now first we will see how we should position a column in a building, how we should be positioning some columns in a building. Let us consider we have some dimension or some plan is there. Let us consider we are having some plan is there, and we have to finalize. Okay, like this we have some building, we will be having some walls like this. Let us consider we have walls like this. Okay. Okay, we have some walls like this. So for finalizing the foundation, your column position, first point is place all the columns at the corners of your building like this. Okay, so you will be placing some columns at the corner of your building, all corners of your building. Okay, then divide your structure. Let us consider if this span is 9 meter. Let us consider this span is 9 meter. Then the 9 meter span for your beam, this particular beam, the 9 meter span will be very high. Okay, therefore what is your requirement is that this span should be reduced. So what we will be doing generally, we will place one column here like this. Okay, again here the span on the left hand side is again 9 meter, so place one column here. Let us consider this particular span is uh, let us consider this span is 18 meters, sorry, 16 meters. Okay, so what we'll be doing, we'll again divide this particular span into some proportionate matter, that is the depth of your beam should be within permissible limit. So what we'll be doing, we'll provide one column like this here. Let us consider we are having this wall here. Okay, we require some wall to be constructed here. So what we'll be doing, we'll be providing one column here. Okay, because we have to provide some beam here also again. Okay, therefore we'll be providing some column here, again provide some column on the opposite side. Okay, again we are required to provide one wall here. Okay, we are required to provide some wall here, and let us consider this particular distance is 6 meter, or 6 meter or 5.5 meter. Okay, again we have 5.5 meter here. So what we'll be doing, if we have some wall here, okay, we'll be again providing some column here like this. We'll be providing some columns here. Again, this particular span is again 9 meter. This particular span is 9 meters. So as to make this particular slab, okay, having some less spans, and this beam, okay, this particular beam, this should be having less span. Therefore what we'll be doing, we'll be providing some columns arrangement like this. Okay, this is the general approach for providing your columns. So what we'll be doing, we'll be providing some column arrangement like this. And then where we should be providing the beams, the first thing we should keep in mind, the beams should be provided below every 230 mm thick wall. Okay, the beams should be provided below every 230 mm thick wall. Okay, we will be having two different type of thickness of walls. The first one is 115 mm thick. Okay, 115 mm thick, that is half brick wall, and the second type of brickwork we will be having 230 mm thick. Okay, this is two brick wall, or our generally the outside walls are 230 mm thick. Okay, so 230 mm walls are generally provided at the exterior of your building. The 230 mm thick wall will be provided here at the exterior of your building. Let us consider this is the exterior portion of your building. Okay, so we will be providing some 230 mm thick wall at the exterior, or at the outer wall will be 230 mm thick. Outer wall will be 230 mm thick, whereas the inner walls, these inner walls, okay, these will be 115 mm thick, that is 115 mm thick. Okay, why? Because these are partition walls only. Their main purpose is to provide the partition arrangement only. Therefore these walls, all these walls will be generally 115 mm thick. Okay, at the same time, let us consider we are having some staircase in this particular area, or the staircase is provided here, and this is the open space for your flat. Okay, let us consider this is open space. Then this particular wall, this should be considered as 230 mm thick, because it becomes external wall. The main purpose will not be only partition, but at the same time will require safety. Therefore this particular wall will be made 230 mm. These three walls will be made 230 mm. So partition wall will be provided with 115 mm thickness, whereas the external walls, or the walls which are outside the premises or your area of your flat, will be considering those walls as 230 mm thick. Okay, whenever there is a wall having 230 mm thickness, we must provide a beam below that particular wall. At the same time, if we have the 115 mm thick wall, that is half brick wall, but having a total height not more than 1.5 meter, then we can provide some hidden beam in the slab, hidden beams in the slab. And if we are having walls more than 1.5 meter height, and the thickness is 115 mm thick, then again we will provide a beam below that particular wall, because your slab is not designed for generally not the slab is designed for surface load, that is load in kilonewton per meter square, let us consider. Okay, so whenever there is a wall having height more than 1.5 meter but thickness is 115 mm, then you should also provide some beam below that particular wall. Okay, now we'll see which are some recommended sizes of beams and columns in your building. Before that, we'll see what are the different levels of your buildings are there. Okay, just a minute. So which are different levels in your buildings are there. Okay, so first is your foundation level. First level, your foundation, you can see here. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so which are different levels in your buildings are there. Okay, so first level, which is at the bottommost part of your building, is your foundation level. Okay, we'll be having some foundation strata here, we'll be having some foundation strata here. So this level, this is your foundation level, this is your foundation level. Okay, then sorry. Okay, so this is your foundation level, this is your foundation level which is shown here. Okay, this is your foundation level. Then you will be having some ground level, you will be having some ground level like this. Okay, this is the initial ground level, this portion will be underground. Then thereafter we have some plinth level. Okay, plinth level, this is the plinth level at which the plinth beams are provided. These are the plinth beams. Okay, these are the plinth beams, these are provided at the plinth level, these are provided at the plinth level. Then we have slab level. So the first slab above the plinth level, this is your first slab or first floor level. Okay, and then we have some stilt floor, sorry, stilt floor is not there. Okay, so this is the slab level. So first slab will be here, second slab will be here, third slab will be here, then we have some fourth slab, and then the last slab or the topmost slab, this is called as terrace level or roof level, or it is called as terrace or roof slab. It is called as terrace or roof slab. Okay, we may have some arrangements such as headroom for your lift, headroom for your staircase, which are, this is only a example. Okay, so like this different levels are there. The important levels are foundation level, then we have plinth level, and then slab level, and the final top level is your terrace or roof level. Okay, now generally at plinth level slab is not provided. The slab is not provided because this particular depth will be completely filled with the boulders or murum material. Okay, therefore we don't consider the design of slab or whatever concrete material is placed here at this particular level, that is not considered as a slab because its behavior is not like a slab. Okay, so from which height we will be having slab? The first height where the slab will be starting is your first floor slab. Okay, here we will be having at the plinth level, we will be having plinth beams. Okay, so like these different levels of your buildings are there. Then we will see which are the recommended member sizes of your building components. Okay, now for your columns, generally these sizes are recommended, that is 9 inch by 12 inch. Okay, we'll start the design with 9 inch by 12 inch size, then we have 9 inch by 15, 9 inch by 18, 9 by 21, 9 by 24, that is 230 by something. Okay, this value is fixed. Why this value is fixed? Because generally the walls are provided with a thickness of 230 mm. Sorry, the walls are generally provided with a thickness of 230 mm, and therefore we don't want any extension from the beams to be approaching outside of your wall. Therefore we will be providing the minimum dimension of your column member as 230 mm, as 230 mm. Okay, then whereas the minimum second dimension, this should be minimum dimension, this should be 300 mm. Okay, so these are some recommended sizes, that is 230 by 300 mm, 230 by 375, 230 by 450, 230 by 525, 230 by 600 mm. Okay, one thing you can note that the basic difference between these two sizes is 3 inch. Okay, you can see here the basic difference is 12 inch and 15 inch, that is 3 inch difference is there. Again in between these two, again we have 3 inch, that is 15 and 18. Again here we have 3 inch difference, sorry, okay, that is 18 and 21. In this particular size the difference is again 3 inch, that is 21 and 24 inches. Okay, what is the reason for providing such sizes, that is in terms of increase in the in terms of your 3 inches? Because the shuttering material which are available generally are available in these sizes. Okay, these shuttering materials are available in these sizes. Therefore whenever we will be designing you should consider some standard dimension for design for columns or beams, because the shuttering will not be available in a size, let us consider 260 mm. Okay, this is not available. Or if we want 290 mm size of shuttering, these are not available in the field. Okay, therefore you should use some standard sizes of columns and beams. Okay, now here you can see the depth of your beam has been 300 mm here. Okay, now after this depth of 600 mm is reached, what we will be doing, we will further increase this dimension. You can see here this dimension is kept as constant. Okay, so this is only a trial and error method for designing. So what we will be doing, the F will be now 12 inch by 24 feet inch. G will be 12 inch, sorry, this will be 15 inch by 24 inch. Like this we will be increasing this dimension by each 3 inch. Okay, so these are some recommended sizes. Why we are stopping here at 600 mm? Why we are stopping here at 600 mm? Because you can see, let us consider this is our one floor. Okay, if the depth of your beam is 600 mm, let us consider this is the depth of your beam and this is 600 mm. Okay, the total height of your floor is 3 meter, and the depth of door or height of door generally provided, this is 2.1 meter, this is 2.1 meter. Okay, so after your, what will happen, sorry, okay, the doors will be provided at some 2.1 meter only. Okay, so let us consider this is your 2.1 meter. Okay, so 2.7 meter is gone, this 0.6 plus 2.1, only this thickness remaining is 0.3 meters only. Okay, at the same time your beam will become deep beam if you are considering the high depth of your beam more than 600 mm, and the second reason is your beam will be exceeding this particular height, that is the from slab level to your top of your door. Okay, therefore we will be limiting the depth to 600 mm. If in no case your depth is increasing more than this 600 mm, you should either go for doubly reinforced beam, or you should increase the width of your beam. Okay, now you should also keep in mind the minimum dimension of your column. Any minimum dimension of your column, this should not be less than the dimension of your beam. This should not be less than the dimension of your beam, because what the approach we are following is that we will be following this strong column weak beam approach. Okay, strong column weak beam approach, because we don't want any failure in the column. Okay, therefore every time your column dimension should be at least equal to the minimum dimension of your beam. Okay, your beam dimension should not exceed the dimension of your column. Okay, Next we have different sizes of beams. Okay, so the first beam which will be providing from the first beam which will be provided above the foundation is your, let us consider this is one of the column or some frame is there. Okay, like this we have some frame. So this first beam which is provided above the foundation, this particular beam, these beams are called as plinth beams. These beams are called as plinth beams. Okay, why these are provided? Because these are provided for providing the support for your, for providing the support for, okay, let us consider we have some building like this here. Okay, let us consider we are having some building like this here. Okay, let us consider we are having some building like this. Okay, so this is your foundation level, this is foundation. Okay, then this particular level at which the first beams are provided, this is your plinth level, and the beams, these beams are called as plinth beams. These beams are called as plinth beams. These beams are called as plinth beams. Okay, so what is the requirement of these plinth beams? Because this is our ground floor, this is your ground floor, so whatever walls will be there, okay, whatever walls will be there, these walls will be resting on these particular plinth beams. These walls will be resting on these plinth beams. In plan, if you see this particular building will be something like this. Okay, this building will be something like this. So plinth beams, these beams are, all these beams, we consider these beams as plinth beams. Okay, the how will be providing the plinth beams? We will be providing the plinth beam below every 230 or 115 mm thick wall. Okay, 230 or 150 mm thick wall will be providing plinth beam. Okay, another requirement is that, requirement is that, okay, every column, every column should be connected in minimum 3 direction. Let us consider if we have beam like this, we have column here, again we have column here. This should not be done, because if you are doing this type of arrangement, this won't be stable. Okay, as far as possible this type of arrangement should be avoided. This is your beam. Okay, this is again your second beam. So what you should do for stability, you should connect every column in 3 dimension. This is in plan. Okay, this is in plan. You should connect every column in 3 directions. So this is your beam number 1, this is your beam number 2, and this is your beam number 3. So like this every column should be connected in 3 by 3 beams. Okay, then we have, okay, so there are some standard dimensions or some recommended dimensions for providing the plinth beams. Okay, now for providing the plinth beams there are some standard or recommended dimensions are there. Now if the span of your plinth beam, if the span of your plinth beam is up to 15 inch feet, okay, if the span of your plinth beam is up to 15 inches, what you, sorry, 15 feet, what you should do, you should provide the plinth beam dimensions 230 by 375 mm. Okay, this is only a trial and error method. This may also fail, depending upon the loading conditions. Okay, this is only recommended sizes. What you should do, first start with 230 mm, first start with 230 mm by 375 mm. Is this particular size fails, then you should go for the next higher size of your plinth beam size. Okay, you can also provide 230 by 300 mm. You can also provide 230 by 300 mm. Now let us consider our span is 10 feet only. If our span is 3 feet only, sorry, 10 feet only, that is 3 meter, then what you can do, you can also check for this particular dimension of 230 mm by 300 mm. So I think for 230 by 300 mm having span 10 feet or 3 meter, this will also be passed. Okay, but if this particular size 230 by 300 mm fail, you can use another higher dimension. If again this fails, then you can use this higher dimension of 230 by 450 mm. Okay, now if the span of your plinth beam is more than 15 feet, if it is more than 15 feet, you should use this particular recommended size of your plinth beam. Okay, this is only recommendation. Okay, depending upon loading condition, this may also fail, but you can start with this particular dimension so that you required minimum efforts for design any design. Okay, now for design of any floor beam, now you know this is your foundation, this is foundation. Okay, the first beams are, these are plinth beams, these are plinth beams, then these blue beams which are drawn, these blue beams which are drawn, these are your floor beams. Now I am talking regarding these floor beams. Okay, these beams will be roof level. Okay, I am talking about these floor beams. Okay, now regarding this particular floor beams, the beam dimension is finalized by considering like this. Okay, we will be having some slab here, we will be having some slab here. Okay, so let us consider this thickness of this slab. This thickness is 125 mm, this thickness is 125 mm. Then the beam dimensions are finalized considering this particular depth, that is depth below the soffit of your slab, depth below the soffit of your slab. So how we will be finalizing the depth? We will be considering the depth below the soffit, the depth below the soffit, that is this particular depth plus thickness of slab. This particular depth, let us consider this is small d. Okay, so the total depth of your floor beam, this will be small d plus 115 mm thickness of your slab. Okay, why this d is considered? Because these shutterings are available, or the formwork are available in these sizes only, that is 300 mm or 375, 450 mm, like this. Therefore, whenever we will be designing some beam, the beam dimension should be in terms of 3 inch. That is, your beam dimension should increase in terms of 3 inch. If if this 300 mm fails, then you should increase the depth of your beam to 375 mm, that is increase by 3 inches or 75 mm. Why? Because the shuttering dimensions are available in these sizes only. Okay, then okay, the recommended sizes for floor beams, these are up to a span of 15 feet, up to a span of 15 feet. Generally these dimensions will be passed. Okay, generally these dimensions will be passed. Okay, up to a span of 10 feet, up to a span of 10 feet, you can also use 230 mm by 300 mm dimension of your beam. Okay, this is total 300 mm up to a span of 10 feet, but again it depends upon the loading condition. Okay, so up to a span of 15 feet, you should use this particular dimension of your beam. Okay, that is 230 mm by 425 mm. If the span is up to 10 feet, then you can also use 230 by 300 mm, 230 by 300 mm. Okay, then now what thickness of slab should be used? Okay, now this is again based on your design, this is again based on your design. Okay, so design, whatever loads are there, based on that particular loads you should design your building. Okay, you should design your building based on the what are the different types of loads. Okay, or what are the magnitude of your loads. Generally for span, having a residential building, for span up to 13 to 16 feet, or let us consider 13 to 15 feet, this 5-inch thick slab is passed. Generally this 5-inch thick slab is passed for a span up to 13 to 15 feet. Okay, 13 to 15 feet, this 5-inch slab thickness or 115 mm thick slab will be passed. Okay, whereas if the dimension of your slab is more than 15 feet, okay, if it is more than 15 to 16 feet, you should use this 6-inch thick slab. You should use this 6-inch thick slab. You should use means what will happen, these particular slab dimension, this particular slab dimension or thickness will be passed for these particular sizes of your panels or slabs dimension. Okay, so generally we will be using 5 inch or 6 inch dimension of or thickness of your slab, because yeah, as we goes on increasing this thickness of slab, the dead load again goes on increasing, the dead load again goes on increasing. Okay,